The movie starts with the Storm, a skilled sniper team stationed at the Chinese border, assigned with a crucial mission to gather intelligence on the enemy's movements. Captain Gao Zhan, the team leader, and Old Bird, the reconnaissance soldier, are part of this mission. Their primary objective is to protect Major General Ethan, who has plans to reclaim the weapons of mass destruction seized by the enemy from India. Amidst the scorching desert, Major General Ethan was accompanied by a group of soldiers, including Gao Zhan, who was also part of the Storm team. After inspecting the weapons, Ethan instructed the troops to prepare for their return journey. However, their plans were brutally disrupted by a sudden terrorist attack. The Storm team sprung into action, but they soon found themselves outmatched by the heavily armed terrorists. With snipers taking aim from a distance, Gao Zhan and Old Bird were in a perilous situation, struggling to hold their ground. As the battle intensified, Gao Zhan and the other Storm members decided to retreat and flee in a vehicle. But for Gao Zhan and Old Bird, stuck on top of a building, their only chance of survival was to eliminate the terrorist sniper. As Gao Zhan and the others fled in their vehicle, they were ambushed by the terrorists' deadly automatic weapons, leaving them with no choice but to seek shelter. Despite their efforts to hide, the enemy's bullets pierced through their car, killing everyone inside. The terrorists double-checked to confirm their kill. As the situation spiraled out of control, one of the terrorist snipers removed her mask, revealing herself to be a woman with pink hair named Hong Xuan. Meanwhile, Gao Zhan and Old Bird were still struggling to navigate their way down the building, avoiding the relentless gunfire from the other snipers. In the midst of their escape, Gao Zhan was stunned to see Major General Ethan rising from the dead after being shot multiple times earlier. As Gao Zhan's attention was diverted, Old Bird was hit by enemy sniper fire. Acting quickly, Gao Zhan threw a rope to pull his comrade to safety, but unfortunately, the enemy sniper was too precise, and Old Bird succumbed to his injuries. Gao Zhan, in a state of shock and grief, was thrown from the top of the building and lost consciousness. When he came to, he found himself in an ambulance, but his relief was short-lived when his colleague Mike intercepted them. To Gao Zhan's horror, Mike accused him of being a traitor who had killed his own teammate. He alleged that Gao Zhan had a large sum of money in his bank account, which he planned to use for tumor treatment. In a sudden turn of events, Mike pulled out a gun and aimed it at Gao Zhan. Fortunately, Gao Zhan was still alert, despite his injuries, and managed to disarm Mike. Turning the tables, Gao Zhan ordered the other Storm team members to drop their weapons and force them into the ambulance, locking it from the outside. He apologized to Mike and the others but vowed to expose Ethan's treachery and ensure that Old Bird and Gao Zhan's deaths were not in vain. Taking matters into his own hands, Gao Zhan hijacked a car and drove away, determined to clear his name and seek justice for his fallen comrades. However, to his dismay, the media reported fake news that painted him as the mastermind behind Ethan's betrayal, making him a scapegoat in a larger conspiracy. Time had passed, and Gao Zhan had retreated to a remote area to recover from his injuries. He dedicated himself to training and exercise while simultaneously investigating Ethan's betrayal and planning his revenge. Meanwhile, in the bustling city of Beijing, a top-secret meeting of scientists was taking place. The location was heavily guarded, but Hong Xuan and her sniper partner, Edward, had managed to infiltrate the gathering on Ethan's orders. Their mission was to kidnap the scientists. Once inside, Edward caused a commotion by brandishing his weapon, causing chaos and confusion among the guards. The police rushed in to secure the safety of the scientists, but Hong Xuan was already prepared with her sniper rifle. In the end, the kidnappers succeeded in their mission, and the scientists were taken captive. Gao Zhan was holed up in his secret hideout, closely following the news of the scientists' abduction, which was apparently linked to a dangerous chemical that could be used as a weapon. Suddenly, his threat detection device went off, alerting him to some possible danger. However, upon further investigation, it turned out to be a false alarm. Feeling unsettled, Gao Zhan closed the app and opened a folder on his computer. Inside, he found a video of himself during his days with Storm, the underground organization he used to belong to. As he watched the footage, memories of his loyal subordinates, Gao Zhan and the late Old Bird, flooded his mind. The two had looked up to Gao Zhan like a brother, and the video showed their interviews expressing their deep respect and admiration for him. As Gao Zhan reminisced about the past, a wave of sadness washed over him, knowing that those days were gone and he could never go back. As the morning sun rose, Gao Zhan resolved to leave his hiding place and investigate the kidnapping of the scientists. Disguised as a police officer, he infiltrated the conference hall where the abduction had taken place. While he was examining the bullet holes in the wall, two policemen suddenly became suspicious of him. Faced with the threat of being caught, Gao Zhan had no choice but to use force to escape. Although he managed to evade the police, his face was captured on the CCTV footage, putting him in grave danger. Meanwhile, a highly trained special forces team known as the Tiger Team was on a rescue mission to save the kidnapped scientists. Led by Captain Fong Zhang, they successfully managed to retrieve the hostages and were heading back when they received new orders from their superiors. Their mission was abruptly redirected, and now they were tasked with capturing Gao Zhan, who had become a prime target. Meanwhile, Gao Zhan was preparing to make his escape, but his plan was thwarted when he found himself surrounded by Hong Xuan and her team of terrorists. Despite being outnumbered, Gao Zhan showed his impressive shooting skills, taking out the terrorists one by one. However, Hong Xuan managed to slip away, leaving Gao Zhan to be captured by the Tiger team. Gao Zhan found himself face to face with his former subordinate Fang Zhang, who he believed had turned against him and joined the terrorists. But Fang Zhang still believed that Gao Zhan was a traitor. As they were both taken into custody, tensions rose between the two of them. During the flight to headquarters, the argument between them reached a boiling point, and Fang Zhang attempted to physically attack Gao Zhan. But with his quick reflexes and fighting skills, Gao Zhan was able to turn the tables and take one of Fang Zhang's team members hostage, forcing the others to surrender. Gao Zhan quickly took control of the situation and ordered the pilot to change course. The story picks up with Ethan's team holding the kidnapped scientists captive on a remote island, where they are working on a deadly weapon of mass destruction. Ethan eagerly awaits the opportunity to unleash the weapon, which has the capacity to wipe out a city within a 120-kilometer radius. Meanwhile, Gao Zhan makes a dramatic escape from the Tiger team by jumping out of a plane with a parachute. He lands on the very same island where Ethan and his team are operating. Additionally, Gao Zhan was not only tracking Ethan's movements, but he also managed to steal some of the Tiger team's equipment to aid him in his mission. Meanwhile, Fang Zhang, feeling defeated by Gao Zhan's success, made a daring decision to personally arrest Gao Zhan on the island. Despite some of his team members warning against it, Fang Zhang remained resolute, removing his Tiger team emblem and declaring it his personal mission. His team members, inspired by Fang Zhang's courage, decided to follow him. At Ethan's headquarters, the scientist in charge pleaded with Ethan to keep his promise to return them home after the project was completed. However, Ethan had no intention of keeping his word, as his ultimate goal was to create a new weapon. When the weapon was finally completed to Ethan's satisfaction, one of his men alerted him to the presence of intruders on the island, the Tiger team. Furious, Ethan immediately ordered his men to take action. In the chaos that ensued, Gao Zhan seized the opportunity to sneak into Ethan's headquarters, taking out the remaining guards and seizing the weapon and access key. As the Tiger team closed in on the terrorists' post, they were ambushed by a bomb. Fortunately, they managed to evade it, and Fang Zhang and his team launched a fierce counterattack, unleashing grenades and bullets on the terrorists. Despite their victory, they were forced to retreat when one of their members, Dong, was injured. Fang Zhang and his team quickly found a hiding place to treat Dong's injuries. The defeat of Ethan's men only served to fuel the anger of Edward and Hong Xuan, who demanded the immediate elimination of the Tiger team. At first, Ethan was hesitant to agree, as he had other tasks to attend to. However, Edward did not trust Ethan's inexperienced subordinates and insisted on taking matters into his own hands. The scene shifts to Gao Zhan, who is already near the base. In order to gain access, he has struck a deal with a scientist named Lao Fo, who has deliberately infiltrated the base to assist him. Using sophisticated glasses and remote hearing devices, Gao Zhan is able to take out several terrorists with the help of Lao Fo's guidance. Gao Zhan and Lao Fo later meet in the middle of the forest to discuss their plan of escape from the island. However, before they can leave safely, Gao Zhan must first defeat Ethan's team. Meanwhile, the two Tiger team members who were on guard are suddenly ambushed by Hong Xuan and Edward's team. The sudden attack by Hong Xuan and Edward's team has forced the other Tiger team members to come to the aid of their comrades. However, they quickly realize that Hong Xuan has brought a larger force. In a brutal and grueling battle, the Tiger team is outnumbered and outgunned, with almost all of their members falling in battle, save for Fang Zhang and two others. As all hope seems lost, Gao Zhan arrives just in time to rescue Fang Zhang and his team. Hong Xuan retreats, returning to Edward with only two surviving members of the Tiger team. Fang Zhang is taken aback when he comes face to face with Gao Zhan, whom he still sees as a traitor. However, their animosity is short-lived when they receive news that Edward's team has attacked the scientists. Gao Zhan and Fang Zhang immediately rush to their aid, but it's too late. Edward's team has already taken Lao Fo hostage, and he informs Gao Zhan to leave him behind. Gao Zhan can't bear the thought of abandoning his friend, but Lao Fo insists, as he knows that his presence will only endanger Gao Zhan and the others. However, Edward has learned of the recording glasses and decides to make an example of Lao Fo. He shoots him dead in front of Gao Zhan, who is left shattered by the loss of his dear friend. As Gao Zhan convulsed and fell into shock, Fang Zhang quickly administered a sedative to calm him down. Once he had regained his composure, Gao Zhan revealed the truth about his involvement with Lao Fo and how he had been gathering clues to take down the real traitors, Ethan's team. Fang Zhang realized that Gao Zhan was not a traitor himself and decided to join forces with him to rescue their members and bring down the true traitors. Together, they infiltrated Ethan's base and Fang Zhang freed his captive members while also ordering them to rescue any surviving scientists. Meanwhile, Ethan was busy selling weapons to potential buyers, oblivious to the fact that Gao Zhan and Fang Zhang were closing in on him. Seizing the opportunity, they stole Ethan's automatic weapon and laid a series of traps to take down the traitorous team once and for all. In a desperate attempt to keep the scientists safe, 2 members of the Tiger team disguised themselves as terrorists and attempted to move the scientists to a more secure location. Unfortunately, their cover was blown when Edward and Hong Xuan discovered their true identities. Amidst the chaos, Gao Zhan and Feng Zheng opened fire from both sides with their automatic weapons. The Tiger team members saw their opportunity and managed to rescue the scientists, but tragically, Hong Xuan killed one of their members. With Ethan dead and the gunfight over, Edward gave the order to kill Gao Zhan and Feng Zheng. Hong Xuan and her team split up to search for the intruders, but one group fell right into a trap that Gao Zhan had set. While Hong Xuan and her remaining troops continued their search for Gao Zhan and Feng Zheng, they too fell into another one of their traps. Gao Zhan and Feng Zheng were quick to act and eliminated the remaining terrorists. Their victory, however, was short-lived as Feng Zheng still had to face off against Hong Xuan in a fierce battle. In the end, Feng Zheng emerged victorious, but their enemies were not yet completely defeated. Edward, who had taken over Ethan's position, was already in the process of contacting a potential buyer for their weapons. However, the buyer made a chilling demand that Edward destroy a city as part of their deal, and the city in question was Beijing. Gao Zhan was determined to stop Edward from carrying out his plan of destroying Beijing, his hometown. Time was running out as Edward had already activated the weapon of destruction, leaving them with no other option but to destroy it before it could reach the city. Thankfully, the scientists were able to provide Feng Zheng with instructions on how to disable the weapon. But as they approached the weapon, they realized that its signal was too strong, making it impossible to get close. The intense fight between Gao Zhan and Edward continued to rage on, leaving both of them wounded. Gao Zhan, determined to protect Feng Zheng, devised a plan to take down Edward by using the steel pipes in the building. He fired his gun at the pipeline, causing the bullet to ricochet off and hit Edward. With Edward defeated, Gao Zhan quickly shielded Feng Zheng and instructed him to shoot a piercing bullet into his own body, aiming straight for the weapon of destruction. Feng Zheng had no other option but to follow Gao Zhan's instructions, and together they managed to destroy the weapon just in time. The film ends with the death of Gao Zhan, who sacrificed his life to save his hometown. The movie carries a powerful moral message. In a world filled with deceit and misjudgment, we must be careful not to falsely label good people as criminals and put our trust in the wrong individuals. It reminds us to refrain from judging others based on their appearance or reputation and instead to seek out the truth behind their actions.